Welcome to this episode of Exec On AI. Today we are receiving Karim from Lille.
Hello,
Hello.
Yamila.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Really great to have you. I think the best to talk about you is you. Can you introduce yourself?
Great introduction. Thank you very much. I'm Karim Bouras, the founder of Mile. We are a HubSpot solution partner since maybe 10 years. And we are trying to drive a digital transformation for a manufacturer in France or in Europe, so for some of our customers.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. Can you tell me a little bit more maybe about your AI usage? So you're not the biggest advocate?
No,
I know you've been
to be
talking about
honest, I think I was late on the AI wave. First, when AI started to pop up, I feel like it was a buzzword, and I took some time to dip myself to go deep in the topic. So I was quite late, but when we started to discuss about that in my agency, we decided to go very deep in the implementation of AI in our own processes.
I love your transparency because a lot of people are hearing the word, feeling a little bit confused about it, maybe a little bit stressed being late. So I love that you are sharing transparently that.
Yeah, I was saying to myself, if AI is only a question about learning to prompt, I wasn't at ease with that because I feel like prompting engineer, prompt engineering, this kind of word. I was thinking that if we need to be trained to prompt or to discuss with AI, it's a nonsense for me. And I think AI, it's about transforming the way we talk to machine. For me, it's a maybe primarily, it's a question of interface between human and machine.
Yeah, and AI is learning so fast. Like we were only talking to it by text, then we start using it by voice. Now the app is available. So everything goes so fast. You mentioned quickly that now you are deepening the topic. Can you tell me maybe like in the last year, 2024, what are the maybe 1 to 3 big use cases that you've launched? And was it profitable?
I started like everybody with ChatGPT and playing with it, asking some questions to ChatGPT to build some content. But I don't think it's the most interesting usage. I was at Inbound in September, so it's something very recent.
So the big HubSpot conference?
The big HubSpot conference. And I heard Yamini Rangan, the CEO of HubSpot, talking about AI and about how do you start your AI journey. And she says something that resonates for me. She says that you must start with your P&L.
Can you define that, P&L, for the audience?
You must start with some things that will impact your profitability, that will reduce your charges, your pain points, your head count. It's not politically correct to say that, but I think we have a lot of inefficiency in our organization, small or big. And for me, AI is about how we track all this inefficiency, how we can accelerate things, how we can use it to facilitate the life of our teams.
So it's really about helping your business to achieve their long-term goals and not just a tool to play.
For example, we produce a lot of content for our customers. We used to work with a journalist. I don't think the journalist work is dead, but we were paying journalists to do interview, to make interview. And after that, we received a transcript of the interview with a kind of a blog post. And I have my consultant reading the blog post, correcting, reformulating, optimizing for SEO. In fact, today you can prompt something in your ChatGPT, for example, or in HubSpot. You can ask ChatGPT to prepare you the template for the interview. You can send this to your customer or record your interview with the customers. Inject this in ChatGPT, and you have a blog post already optimized. And this is a process that take maybe 10 less time than what we are doing. And I stopped the cost for the journalist. It was not a good news for them, but it was very good news for my P&L, for my profitability.
And maybe you can use a journalism for other stuff.
For other things, maybe for more expertise, expertise interview, for more maybe deeper content, this kind of content.
So in this case, the KPI was basically the time spent.
I'm an agency. I'm selling hours. I'm selling my consultant. Basically, we are selling human time.
Absolutely.
So if I can have my consultants take more time to do what can bring more value to the customer, it's interesting.
Makes sense.
But if they take a lot of time to do tasks that can be automated today with AI, we need to use it because for the customer, it's a win-win.
So I guess the question I have here is...
He will pay for more value and he will less pay for time. Today he's paying for time. For example, I used to say to my consultant, if someone is an expert, he can do the task maybe in 1 hour. I can hire a junior. We are going to make this task in 4 hours. And I don't want to invoice or to make my customer pay for my inefficiency, for the reason because I hire a junior and I should hire a senior consultant. With AI, you start to maybe to make this more fair for the customer.
I love that. So it's basically about how can we be more efficient, less spend time into training and more time into deliver value to the customer. Makes sense. I guess the only question here is, what did you do with this time that you win?
The consultant can spend more time with the relationship with the customers, can spend more time to level up his expertise, doing some researches for the customers, going deeply for some topics that she couldn't do because she was taking a lot of time doing things that we can do today with AI.
So we're not talking about firing people because you're winning time, but it's about delivering
She's going
more value.
to do a job that she will probably love more than what she was doing. I have a lot of difficulties to hire people for the operation. Nobody wants to do operational stuff.
It's boring.
It's boring. Only juniors. You hire juniors to do this, but for a junior who want to learn, it's not fair for him. But there is some... of a presumption that we need to hire junior to do this stuff and he will learn and after that he will become a senior and do more senior job. I think today we can cut this. This is a shortcut. We can train junior to learn expertise with a senior consultant. For example, the time he will not take to do operational stuff that he shouldn't do. He can spend more time with a senior consultant to learn from his expertise.
It's funny because it's a feedback I'm hearing a lot. We're replacing all the easy tasks, I would say, with AI. And so the question is, what are we going to give our teenagers, our young population to go and learn? And so I love what you're saying right now is, well, actually they could spend more time with expert people so they can learn other skills and we still need them. So
today we have cars. You wouldn't force your teenager to learn to drive a horse because we had to. So today I prefer my teenagers to learn to drive a car because there is car. Probably will never have to drive a horse.
It's a really optimistic view. I love this for our teenagers, so thanks for bringing that to the table. We've talked about profitability, about having an impact. One hard thing today for leaders is to understand how to start. What are the steps that they should take to make sure that the project will actually be impactful, but also contextualized to their business and not just generic. So what steps are you taking for yourself or for your customers that you're helping transform their business?
For me, since maybe 10 years, we have documented all of our processes.
Okay.
So we have a database with all the operations that are documented.
Yes.
And we have been using a timer for all those tasks. So today, before using AI, I know that this kind of task, for example, writing a blog post, setting up the CRM, should take this time. And so the first thing we try to do from those processes that are already documented, see where you can add automation. And we started from this. If you don't have your processes documented, it will be certainly harder to start. So I suggest you should start where you have the more documentation, the more processes already in place. If you don't have processes, I think you are going to waste a lot of time trying things, this shiny new GPT or this shiny new object. But if you start from your processes, you see where you can add automation and where a human can be doing less a job. It's a good point to start, but you need processes.
So basically what we're saying is go first from your processes, understand where can you go faster, be more efficient.
And if you don't have processes, document start to have processes, because I think the businesses we will win in the AI era will be businesses that already have good data quality and have already processes in place. They will be faster than companies that are starting to ask themselves, we should document your process.
Absolutely. Yeah. Another feedback I'm hearing a lot is we're going from our pain point and, as a business, what's your priority for the next year, for the next 5 years? And so coming from this overall strategy for your company and trying to deep dive, okay, I know this year I want to convert better because I already have a lot of traffic, but it's not converting. So how can I do that? And then from this, pain point, is this something you also do with your customer, even though they don't
I can give
process
you
it?
a very interesting example. I try to train my sales team, their junior sales team, to the MEDIC methodology. It's a framework for selling. And it was, for me, I'm not a good coach. I was taking time and I need to build some tools.
It's great to know your strength.
Yeah, I find GPT in ChatGPT called MEDIC. This is something that you can use. You can use all the data you have on the deal. For example, the record of the conversation, the transcript, the note you have been taken from a meeting. You put this in the MEDIC GPT and they start to analyze the conversation to structure. And this is very interesting for AI. For me, the most value that I can take from AI is that it's able to structure, to organize data that are not organized. So I put in there all my data, all my notes, all my call recording, and it gives me a full analysis with the MEDIC framework. And I can now use this to coach myself. So today I ask my sales to run all his notes in this GPT. And after that, he come to see me about this deal. So you don't have an economic buyer. You should do this or this on the next step. You need to ask those questions.
Yeah.
And the GPT is able to give you all that. Maybe I can spend 10 hours or less for the sales executive. He win a lot of time because he will not lose his time on the deals that are not fully qualified.
That's crazy. So we're saying you're qualifying easier, more quicker, but also you're training.
I'm training my sales team to ask the right question, to be able to know if a deal will go next stage or not.
Yeah. So I'm fascinated about this case. So just to understand really clearly, so you have a framework, you give it to ChatGPT or?
To be honest, the framework was already implemented by someone else that was probably a fan or user of the MEDIC methodology. It's a very known methodology. You need to ask a lot of questions. It's a very structured methodology.
Okay.
And someone has built this framework in a GPT. So
GPT is ChatGPT, right?
ChatGPT.
Okay.
So in ChatGPT, you can build your own GPTs.
Yes.
Donc this guy, I don't know his name, has built this.
Thank you.
It's free. It's free. You can use it. Just search in GPT. You can search for those GPT. You ask a MEDIC. You have several ones. I started to test one. I was just starting to put my notes in disorder. There were no order. My notes are a mess. Just put this.
That's creative people.
Using my Zoom transcript. Zoom today with AI is giving you a note from your call. A sum up of your call. I use this. I put this. So give me the analysis of the deal. And they give you exactly what you should ask and what the next step should be with the deal.
Crystal clear. I love that because the data is the core of the engine.
And you will go faster because you have this data. You will not spend time to try to push a deal that should not be pushed. And you are able to ask the right question. And for me, I think I don't have the data for now, but I think we will gain a lot of time. We will shorten the sales cycle using this example, and it's free.
Which is clearly the game changer when you want to win a deal. That's definitely something leaders should have a look to.
Yeah.
I'm also wondering, we want to innovate. We want to use the tech that is out there. At the same time, we have to consider being responsible, giving the right output to our customers or audience. And so I'm just wondering, how do you balance this will to innovate as well as making sure that you stay aligned to your mission and your values?
Very interesting question. I'm not sure. I'm still trying to figure this out. The first thing we have done, we try to use tools that are already compliant with some basic things. So for example, HubSpot is compliant with RGPD, with security for the data. And I try to externalize the responsibility for the data.
That's clever.
Because I don't have the infrastructure and the resources to drive this.
Yeah.
The big question for me is all the data we are collecting from our customer. For example, I just mentioned that we are using a GPT for analyze our deals.
Yes.
We try to do this in a closed space. We paid for ChatGPT.
Okay.
And when you have paid licenses, ChatGPT will not use your data
to train their
to
algorithm.
train their own algorithm. So this is the first step. Regarding the
on that, sorry, do you exclude the personal information from your customer before putting it into?
We don't have very personal information
So, okay, it's safer.
from the beginning
Safer,
because we only professional information.
Your RGPD safe.
Yeah, they try to be.
Okay, sorry. So this is the first step. I just cut you through.
I'm not sure what I was.
So we were talking about being responsible, and so you said the first thing is using a software that is in a closed environment to make sure that you're not using it.
I think I still need to learn about that. This is one of the most important challenges with AI. Maybe one of the fear that a company can have, and I have this fear. I'm not sure I have completely addressed this issue, but AI is going so fast. We try to learn by doing it. So I think if you wait to have all the factors under your power, you are going to be late, or probably it will be late for you when you will try to use AI. So for me, I try to use it with my processes, as I mentioned, with a very simple use case that are profitable for my company, for my team, and for my customers. And doing that to figure out what we should do, what we shouldn't do in terms of responsibility and compliance.
So learning one step at a time. But I feel that it does resonate a lot because I'm hearing a lot leaders saying, well, the first step that is blocking me to start with AI is to make sure that I'm not taking any risk with the data, with the ethics. And so to onboard the teams, to onboard the CEO, the leadership, it's often the first challenge. And so the feedback here that I'm hearing, and it does resonate a lot, is to say, well, don't try to control everything or to understand everything. Maybe give that responsibility to the tools you're using. So at least you have that.
And start maybe with a scope of parameters that you are able to control small ones, small steps. But start the journey. My message will be start the journey because if you don't do it, you are losing money and you are putting your company at risk. Sure about that.
Because the train is moving, right? So even you're inside or you're outside.
Maybe 2 years ago it was a buzzword. Last year it was a buzzword when ChatGPT popped and everybody was. I asked ChatGPT to do this. I think today we are more and more going to something very impactful for our business, for our society. Everybody is asking himself about AI. We start to see autonomous vehicles. We start to see autonomous application.
Oh, yeah. Companies are really using it. So the risk is that you will not be replaced by AI, but you will be replaced by other professionals using AI.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly.
What are the main challenges that you faced in your AI project this year, for example?
To be honest, for me, it's not hard. It's not challenging. It's very exciting.
Amazing.
Every day I discover a new usage and I'm saying, I can do this, I can do this. Some people are saying the AI is not very perfect when you try to make content, for example.
On the output you're receiving, right?
I think today you can have some output very interesting. For me, I am a lazy person. And I always do my job at the last minute. I'm a last minute person.
It does ring a bell.
A last minute person. For me, preparing a workshop or preparing a restitution for a customer, we have been working with a lot of notes. I need to put this together to think about how I'm going to structure my presentation. I use all the content. I put this in GPT and ask him, help me to structure this and to present something very helpful for my customer. After that, I take one hour, and before that, I was procrastinating for weeks before doing the job. So for me, it's not challenging. It's most of the time very exciting to discover what we can do with it. And I think there wasn't a more exciting period for me in my job than today.
Yeah, we can feel that when we talk about it.
Very, honestly.
It's contagious. Just to jump into this fact that the lazy people are actually the one that we say the best developers are the most lazier because they learn how to automate stuff and they go faster. So for me, it's a value. And also, I feel like using AI is not something we should be ashamed of. It's the opposite, actually, because when you have a task to do and you take the time and the energy to go and ask for feedback.
It's not smart.
Whether it's a friend or whether it's AI, you're going one step further to improve and to do better. So
to give you an example, I was hiring a consultant for a marketing marketing consultant role. I have a role play in my recruiting process. One of them was doing really well with the role play, and I asked her, how did you do that? I used ChatGPT to prepare. And I feel like it was very smart. I think this is the kind of people I want. She doesn't have to spend 1 hour to prepare the role play. She used the very smartly ChatGPT. And if I didn't ask the question, maybe I would never know that she was using it, because she was using it in a very smart way.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of skills I'm waiting for my consultant today.
It's a mindset. So message for other people who want to work for Lyle. One question here, because the main challenge I'm hearing is about change management. How do you get your team on board? How do you get the full company on board? Is that something you faced, or because of the people you hired, you don't even have this challenge?
In my company, no, because in our company values, you need to embrace change. We are already changing a lot. We were a marketing agency, from a marketing agency to a CRM integrator. Today we have developers, we work on data. Our job is changing every year. So for my company, it was not a big challenge, and I think everybody in the team was very exciting about testing. We have developed a program internally. Since we started to say we need to go seriously with AI, it may be a few months ago, my colleague Lydie has organized a feedback session every week. And every week we have a 1 hour feedback session to give feedback about use case we have been implemented.
About AI.
About AI. And I took ChatGPT and other tools subscription for everybody in the company. So everybody can play with it, can start to use it in his job. And every day you have someone in the team, on the Slack team, I tried this, it's for me. Everybody is happy. For my customer, I work with a manufacturing company. I think it will probably be more difficult. Some of them are not tech-savvy people. They are maybe feeling they need to learn that. And change management is maybe the most important challenge we have with a manufacturing company, for example, using AI.
Okay, so that might be the topic of another conversation to deep dive into that. One last practical advice you would give to leaders who don't know where to start or are afraid to start. So maybe you can just address your message directly to them.
I would say, as Yamini says, start with your P&L. Start to see where you can gain profitability and measure an ROI on your AI initiative. And you don't have to have a big initiative. You just need to start with the small ones that will have a great impact on your business, on your profitability, on your team, on your company.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you very much, Nabila.
And talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.